Double Take Sports Talk, 5 good minutes with the Watch Brothers. So coming up next on the show, we are going to discuss one Josh Norman. He has been receiving criticism from his recent performances and previous performances. What about? We'll discuss that next. Alright, this is it. Double Take Sports Talk, 5 good minutes with the Watch Brothers. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Daryl, and on the other side of me, say hello to Derek Watts, everybody.
Yes!
What's going on?
Yep, I'm here. Not much.
Of course.
Not a thing.
No doubt. Of course, Thursday night games are over. Rex Ryan trending on Twitter. Jets and Bills trending on Twitter. Jets themselves trending on Twitter. Brandon Marshall trending on Twitter.
What about Matt Forte? This dude ran 100 yards.
Matt Forte trending on
Boy,
Twitter.
I forgot to say, boy, I'm like, where's that at?
Yep. Pretty much every Thursday night football pretty much trending on Twitter.
Very good.
All right. On the docket today, we got one Josh Norman. You ready to do this?
Yep.
All right.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, our 5 minutes starts now.
Josh Norman is receiving some attentions from other NFL players, including one New York Giants. It has been an upheated battle since the last season of Josh Norman versus Odell Beckham Jr. and what Josh Norman has done in the previous games before facing the New York Giants, which led up to that overrated, hyped game, in my personal opinion. And it has gotten to a point that now that everybody thinks that Josh Norman is one of the best cornerbacks in the league, in my personal opinion, I don't think he is.
I'm with you. I'm definitely with you on that one.
He is good, but he's not the best. So
I'm just going to say he's neutral.
He's neutral. Okay, I'll put it like that then. He's pretty much neutral. But he has his good games. He also has his bad. Put it like that, so neutral. Very good on that one. So, there are people that will literally back us up. Victor Cruz being one of them. During the recent Steelers and Redskins game Monday night, Josh Norman didn't spend a lot of time on Antonio Brown. And he was running all over their defense. So, with that being said, Victor Cruz has said that if he calls himself, he don't call him this, he calls himself the best corner in the league, then you have to go cover the best receivers on the team. Going in, I thought he was going to follow AB all over the place, but he didn't. So it is what it is. He made his choice. So, with that being said, would you actually consider a best cornerback if they don't recover one of the team's best receivers?
That depends. Was that a coach's decision for him not to cover Antonio Brown?
It also depends on that, and it also depends on the play style,
right,
and the philosophy.
I necessarily can't say that that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have to consider other things on the other side of that, rather if it's a coach's decision to say, hey, you know what, you don't need to cover Antonio Brown. You cover your side of the field.
But more likely, it always go by that philosophy by any team. They'll say, okay, you got the number one receiver.
Uh-huh.
We're going to get our number one defensive person, rather than it's a quarterback,
right,
to stick to that receiver. So, of course, last season when the Panthers and Giants had played, it was the number one receiver, Odell Beckham, versus the number one cornerback of Josh Norman. So, you put that to the perspective, that's how that normally goes.
He's not that good to me.
To me, he ain't. Everybody thinks that Josh Norman is the best.
Not to me.
And
here's how I say that.
Mm-hmm.
6 combined tackles, 3 total tackles, and 3 assisted tackles against the Pittsburgh Steelers last week. In his career, 54 total games played, 1 fumble. He forced 1 fumble. I believe that would be right. Yeah. No, actually, he forced 4 fumbles. And let's see. 187 combined tackles, 142 total tackles, and 45 assisted tackles with no sacks. 39 pass deflected and defended, 7 interceptions and 2 touchdowns for 172 yards. I call them good numbers, but I don't call them the greatest.
They're not the greatest numbers. I'm going to tell you who I believe is one of my best quarterbacks. Not number 1, but better than Josh Norman. Charles Tillman.
Yeah, absolutely.
Charles Tillman. To me, he is better than Josh Norman.
And I think he's one of the underrated ones that never gets the attention of the media. Charles Tillman, I believe, he's decent. I'm not even going to lie on that behalf.
So, Josh Norman decides he wants to go ahead and retaliate off of the critics that he's been receiving. So he says this, I quote, "When you're at the top of your profession, someone is always trying to grab at you." End quote. You know what? Here's my thing with that. If you cannot whatsoever cover the best receiver in the game that you're playing, I don't consider you the best. Period.
Especially if you only been in the league for 5 years.
Exactly.
Give me a break. Charles Tillman been in the league for 13 years to have 168 tackles. 911 tackles, combined tackles, 773 total tackles, 138 assisted, with 126 passes deflected, 38 interceptions, 8 touchdowns for 675 yards.
That's preaching numbers. That is a minister's version of preaching numbers.
Yes. Yes.
Period.
Yes, sir.
Period.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is our 5 minutes. Thank you for listening to the show.
Here we go. You can check us out on the social media side. Listen to more of our podcasts. You follow us on Twitter at DTST2414. Like us on Facebook, Double Take Sports Talk page at the Watts Brothers. Subscribe on YouTube and also subscribe to our podcast on the podcast app featuring iTunes. Of course, we got the blog featuring critical thinking and analysis. You can check that out at Double Take Sports Talk. Double Take Sports Talk. blogspot.com. I heard you the whole entire time. I was trying not to laugh, but I just gave it up.
Yeah, you gave it up.
I gave it up.
Yes, you did.
All right, that's a wrap. Thank you for tuning in. Of course, I'm Daryl. On the other side is Darren. You catch up with us on another one. Until then, ciao.